Dear friends, Manchester City fans around the world, welcome along to Matchday Live. We are in our studio. My name is Cel Spellman and I'm alongside two City legends in the form of Steve Howey and Mr. David James. We are back in Champions League action tonight as Manchester City try to keep that unbeaten record. Steve, good evening. How are we feeling about tonight's game?
Excited, looking forward to it. I think there'll be a very good atmosphere there. I think the boys themselves will be delighted because of the result and the manner of the result as well against Wolves at the weekend. I'm not too sure what they can say, but obviously a few changes in the team. But yeah, looking forward to it. I mean, it'll still be a tough game. They always are in the Champions League. But yeah, excited for it.
Very much indeed. Well, Steve, I'm going to jump on that and give you a little reveal to say there are 5 changes in this starting 11, which I'll bring you momentarily. But of course, we are taking on Sparta Prague. First time City have faced checked opposition. And as we know, although it might seem like a team that City might take in the stride, Pep's taking this one very seriously, as there's no bad team in the Champions League, really, David.
No, and he can't afford to. If you look at the Champions League table at the moment, I think there's only, after tonight, possibility of 4 teams with a 100% record, which just goes to show the new format is kind of shaking things up. So win your games, stay on top if you can, and let the others worry about it. So strong team, I expect. Strong
team indeed. Well, let's get into that right now. I can reveal our starting 11 of chosen, of course, by the main man, Mr. Pep Guardiola. We look like this tonight. Stefan Ortega comes into the fold. Rico Lewis keeps his position. Most minutes in the Champions League for any City player. John Stones, after that brilliant headed winner, alongside Manuel Akanji, comes in for Ruben Diaz. And Nathan Ake back in the squad. Fantastic to see him return from injury. There he is, Ilkay Gundogan in the middle of midfield, alongside our captain tonight, Bernardo Silva. That just feels great saying that. And Matheus Nunes comes into the fold to complete the midfield. Moving to the forward line, then we have Savinho, ever present this season. Mr. Phil Foden making his start. And of course, the big man, Erling Haaland, completes our starting 11. I'll quickly run you through the subs as well. Ederson, Carson, Ruben Diaz, Kovacic, Gvardiol, O'Reilly and McAtee. And now we can bring you live pictures from the Etihad Stadium. This is literally happening as we speak. The Etihad under the lights. What a treat. Of course, Champions League nights don't get any better than this. If you're ever lucky enough to come down to the Etihad, do make sure you get down early, because that is where you can see this happen. The boys getting off the coach and making their way to the dressing room, of course, building up to this 8 o'clock kickoff against Sparta Prague. David, let's begin. Stefan Ortega comes into the fold. As we know, rotation between the two. No City fans have any qualm with it, and great to see him as well coming back into the fold.
Yeah, I think he'll do his usual, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
What I'm more interested in, especially when you name both subs, there's 2 goalkeepers on the bench and only 7 subs.
Yeah.
So if anything happens to Stefan, which we hope obviously doesn't happen,
touch wood,
then Scott Carson or Ederson might be playing midfield.
Obviously, we know that Ederson has that kind of rhythm and momentum, so to speak. Does it make it more impressive that whenever Ortega is called upon, that he does just fit right in, even with his, you look at his one-on-one situation, but also his distribution as well?
Yeah, the last time I think I saw him live, I have to go back to the FA Cup at Luton. And it seemed like he and Erling Haaland had worked out how to play Luton. His passing to the halfway line was fantastic. Slightly embarrassing because I'm a Luton Town supporter, aren't I? So uncomfortable. But yeah, he's got everything you need, and as he proved year on year that he comes up with big saves in big games. Yeah. Keeps City in competitions and winning trophies. So more than happy with him in goal.
Absolutely, same. Just as well, picking up on what David said there, obviously we have got 2 keepers on the bench, only 7 in total. I can say that we think Jack Grealish has picked up a little injury. Doku as well there has not travelled with the squad, so hopefully they won't be out for too long. I'm going to come to the middle of midfield. Obviously, we'll come to the goal scorer in a second, but I'm delighted to see Matheus Nunes in the starting 11 tonight. Steve, we've seen glimpses of him. Obviously, given the Rodri injury, it feels like now there's maybe space for him to really state his case. Why do you think Pep's gone for him tonight?
Well, obviously Pep thinks he can do a job there. Yeah. I mean, I think you were talking about the goalkeeper there, Ortega, and I think it is difficult for you not to play and then all of a sudden come in, but these are top players. They have to come in and do really well. So it's a perfect opportunity for him. He's playing alongside quality players. Yeah. I mean, we did see a lot of him when he was at Wolves, and we all know how good he is. And as you said, we've seen glimpses of how good he is. But again, he's just been unfortunate because of the strength and depth of City. He hasn't gotten a major run in the team. But looking forward to his performance. I think Gundogan, am I right in saying that could be his 100th appearance in the Champions League?
There we go. I think you could be right there, Steve. Coming with the stats.
Not a bad stat.
Hello.
Stat pack. So, yeah, I mean, a tremendous sort of thing for him. But, yeah, Nunez, Savinho as well, people like that, I think it's a great opportunity. Under the lights, European football, there's nothing better.
No, absolutely not. I do think as well, with bringing Nunez in, obviously we've been used to seeing almost Kovacic and Gundogan, then whoever's kind of maybe it has been a Phil or it has been a Bernardo. I do think he gives us more legs as well, which maybe, if you've got Kovacic and Gundogan, I mean, obviously brains, technical ability, amazing, but maybe do not quite have the legs that Nunez can bring, which is quite important. I think
it's kind of deceiving how quick he is.
Yeah.
And I think it's deceiving as well how much ground he covers. But he is one of those players where he likes to attack players, he likes to be direct, he likes to create chances, likes to have a shot. Mm-hmm. And as you said, it's slightly different to what the other lads give. So it's an option that I'm looking forward to tonight. I really hope he puts in a good performance, because when lads haven't been kind of in and kind of steady away, but what I mean by that is like getting a good run of games.
Yeah.
I do like players coming in and basically sort of saying to the manager, listen, I'm still here, I'm still a very, very good player, so I'm looking forward to his performance tonight.
Absolutely. Same here as well. And coming to that, actually, Phil Foden, obviously had a slow start to the season. He had that illness as well, and obviously as well coming back from the international break, starting to see him get back up to full speed. He's been very honest himself, saying that he's kind of getting there now. Where do you think he's going to play, David? Do you think he'll be in the middle and it'll be Bernardo on the right, or the other way around?
Well, I'm thinking of how Sparta are going to play, first of all. I think they'll either go with a 5-3-2 or a 5-4-1 formation. And therefore, looking at this lineup, John Stones may be the one who's pushed and allowing Nunez and Phil Foden to push more forward. Because, as I say with Gundogan, you know that he's going to pop up in a box. He's not going to be holding back and doing a defensive role. So I think it'll be more of a three at the back, John Stones kind of pushed into that midfield, and then whatever rotation just to break them down. And I think it will be difficult at times, possibly, with a 5-4-1 formation especially. Mm-hmm. But yeah, more freedom for Phil.
Also, we're so used to, I think, sometimes when we talk about centre-half partnerships, that almost getting that stability of your chosen two is how you kind of build a solid foundation. We've seen so many different pairings. Are you impressed to see that whoever the combination is, whether that be Ruben and John, or Akanji and Ruben, or tonight we're seeing Akanji and John, that it does seem to work? And what do you like about this partnership tonight, Steve?
Well, first of all, the tremendous players. I think, kind of looking back on yesteryear, it didn't really happen, and the rotation didn't really happen. So, speaking as a centre-half, you knew his centre-half, you knew his strengths, you knew if he had a weakness, what it was. But these players, because the top players, and because it is rotated quite a lot with all of them players, everybody knows everything about everybody. It doesn't, some people will sort of say, well, it's chopping and changing and all that kind of thing. I think with these players, it doesn't really make any difference. And when you see them as well, I mean, if you look at Akanji and you look at John Stones, yes, they might be starting off as centre-halves, but they're not centre-halves. No. They're all over the place. You just think, I thought he was a centre-half. He could be on the right wing, the left wing, or he's like the furthest man forward. Yeah. And I'm talking about Stones and Akanji here. So the rotation in that way on the pitch is just something that it's brilliant to watch, because the communication between everybody when one goes and the other one fills in and all that kind of thing is absolutely brilliant to watch.
Is that what's key to making that work as well, then, is clear line of communication and everyone understanding?
100%, as well as working so hard on the training pitch. The manager drilling it into them all the time, every single day, so they all know, listen, if I go, sometimes you might shout to one of your teammates, but you can't hear because of the noise of the crowd. but they just know because they've worked on it so much.
Yeah, so drilled into them. Savinho, it feels like he's been ever present this season, you know, as well, to say he only signed in the summer. Can see the trust that Pep has in him. I'm guessing if they're going for that formation and the lower block, like you said, his one-on-one ability is going to be key tonight.
It is, yeah, and we've already seen on a number of occasions where he, especially on that right-hand side, where he doesn't want to go down the outside, he wants to cut inside into the middle of the park. And the one-on-one situation you talk about, if you defend or anticipate you're going to be defending a one-on-one, he'll be somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just as you were saying, I was thinking John Stones might push it. Actually, Rico Lewis might do it either. There's so much rotation all over the place. But I think if he's playing on the right-hand side, for sure, you'll see a lot of runs into the middle of the park towards driving towards a goal. As we see against Arsenal, I think it was in particular.
Yeah.
Again, depending on the stage of the game, whether Sparta have opportunities to go forward and then it's counter-attack, whatever. I'm excited to see this one.
I also feel like with Savinho, he's been so close to a few beautiful goals, you know, from outside. They've just not quite landed yet. And I'm like, I don't know if you've seen it with players, you know, where all they need is almost just that first one to hit the back of the net and then he'll be away. I feel like that's what I'm waiting for with Savinho.
I hope so. I mean, he's capable of scoring goals. I can think of a guy called Cancelo who had 85 shots in one season and only scored one goal. I think we all hope the same thing.
Yes,
But we were often let down. Now, I think he's got something about him. And once he gets that little bit of confidence as well, I think the goals will start flying.
Love that stat there. Wow, did he really? 85 shots?
He had more shots than Kevin De Bruyne that season.
Really?
And then he joined Bayern the year after.
That was from a back in the day stat pack.
He's pulled that one out the closet for that one. Just as well, generally, the way City are going to play, Steve, I know we're so used to kind of, you know, we know what they're about, but it is going to be business as usual, do you think, to try and break down this Sparta Prague team?
Yeah, and it's something that it's not as though they're not used to it. You know, teams come to the Etihad and they bank up. And they drop deep and they make it very difficult and they try and make it as tight as possible. And if the ball goes out, then they all shift across. And but as I said, it's not something that they've faced pretty much week in, week out. Even when they go away from home in the Premier League, it's exactly the same. So they know what to do. I mean, I think it's a tough ask for teams, any team, to be switched on for the 90-plus minutes because it only takes 1 second to switch off. And because of the quality of these players and the guile and the sort of the cleverness of the passes from likes of De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, you switch off for a blink second and it's in, and then you've got a goal from Haaland or anybody because the goals do come from everybody chips in.
Yeah,
you know, more often than enough. I mean, obviously you've got your main goal scorer in Erling Haaland, but it's a tough ask for a team to do that for 90-plus minutes. So we will see.
Speaking of people pitching in with goals as well, let's recap the weekend's result. Huge win away at Wolves at the Molineux, 2-1 to Manchester City. Well, before we get to the man who's popped up with that late winner, the man who has found his goal scoring boots before is Gvardiol as well, who's, I mean, I don't know if we need to, I want to get it clarified that this is his weak foot, but once again popped up with a delicious right foot. How impressed have you been with Gvardiol? Generally since he's come, but also again this season just seems to have gone up another level.
Yeah, he doesn't score bad goals, does he?
Doesn't seem so. He's scored basically so far for City 7 goals, 6 with his weaker foot and 1 header.
Yeah, the
Wild.
I think the term now in coaching is being two-sided. As opposed to having a weaker foot. But, I mean, he doesn't score bad goals and maybe he should get changed next to Savinho and then give him that little bit of confidence that we were talking about. But what a signing. Absolutely, what a signing. I mean, again, it goes back to the point that Steve was making. He gets signed as a defender, but he seems like the defenders are the ones who are scoring all the goals.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was it's a great story that I love that Paul brings to the table when he spoke to Kovacic. Spoke so highly about him, talking about how Gvardiol is almost reinventing how the Croatian national team are looking at their defenders. Position, you know yourself. What do you think are his greatest attributes, and why is he almost reinventing what a defender looks like?
Well, first and foremost, he's a very good defender.
Yes,
that's his job. Ultimately, if he can give anything going forward, that little bit extra, then absolutely brilliant. But he's a very good defender, very difficult to beat on a 1v1.
Yep.
Distribution is very, very good. And this is why, you know, his goals have been, and John Stones, for instance, have been absolutely brilliant, because when they are facing these teams, like they will tonight, because they have that low, so they've dropped deep, people use the terminology low block, like Vernon Haaland and one or two other players, that the opposition will think, well, these are the main ones, we've got to keep an eye on these, and that's why their contribution with the goals, people's not expecting them to score. I mean, you look at the one against Newcastle, it's a fantastic goal, that. Yeah. I think that's actually better than the one against Wolves.
Yeah.
The one against Wolves was a great finish, and he put some great whip on it, and the goalkeeper's can't do anything about it. But the control, the pass, the movement, to take it again, to bring it inside, and then to finish, I mean, it's like a top-class midfield player or forward.
Well, and that's it, Steve. I think it's almost that as well. Like you say, the first and foremost is his defending ability. But technically, and this is something me and my younger brother are always saying, like, every touch he needs to do is spot on. His close ball control is beautiful. The way he executes passes is exquisite. Is that just worked on, or is also he just a defender that has got a natural ability that you can't really coach, or you can just harness it?
I think for players like him and Johnny Stones and pretty much the whole of the Man City team, I think you have to have a talent.
Yeah.
But without a shadow of a doubt, that's worked on.
Yeah.
You know, some people are gifted 100%, but even the gifted players, you know, they've got to work on the strengths. But, you know, just coming inside, left foot, they just strokes it in with his right foot. But then again, he hits with his left foot. But as you said, he's got, was it 5 goals or 6 goals with his weaker foot?
Yeah. With 6 goals and 1.
Excuse me. I have a proper bee in my bonnet about modern day footballers, and I think modern day footballers should be able to kick with both feet. There's far too many that don't.
Yes.
For my liking. You're a professional footballer. He epitomises that.
Yeah, there we go. Now listen to Steve Howey, anyone who's not two-footed. There we go. One man as well, he's getting his rest tonight. Another person who's popping up with goals, and dare you say, I mean, key goals as well, John Stones. Obviously salvaged the point against Arsenal and pops up with this from the dying embers of the Wolves game. First and foremost, just to clear it up, obviously there was a question of it going to VAR, but he's not impeding the key. It should never even been looked at for me.
Yeah, I mean, the big question was Bernardo Silva getting shoved away by Jose Sarr so comfortably.
Yeah.
You know, I would have been in that change room saying get in the weights room. Because, but fortunately, I think with the Bernardo Silva thing, he goes towards Sarr, a bit of contact, Sarr swats him away. And from then on in, it's all about John Stones. It's a perfect header. As a goalkeeper, you're having to essentially guess and react at the same time. And the worst one you want and the last one that you're thinking about is the one above your head.
Yeah.
It had to be somewhere else for Sarr to make any kind of... But look, it's right above his head. It's so close. Beautiful.
Can I ask as well, then, as a keeper, because obviously, as you said, far too soft for even the little nudge from Bernardo. But going back to the Arsenal game...
Oh, the Arsenal was a foul.
That is a foul.
100%. And the difference there is that Martinelli turns his back and pushes towards Ederson, making sure that Ederson cannot make a movement. Look, Bernardo makes a little nudge, nothing happens. Sarr's set, you can see the ball.
Yeah.
You know, if Sarr had fallen in the back of the net, then that would have been a different situation. But Bernardo, and I say this jokingly, but he's kind of swatted away, and it's not like he was really trying to stop him.
Yes.
But as I say, the one against Arsenal was a terrible decision.
Yeah. Thank you, David. Again, another, a centre-half popping up with goals. I mean, the love and adoration City fans have for John speaks for itself, and it is great that he's, keeping his place in the team, now seems to be getting a bit of a run in there, and obviously it'll do wonders for his confidence as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he had picking up little niggly injuries and stuff like that. Yeah. And it is difficult to sort of come in and then pick up another little slight thing and then in again and then out and then in and again. But I mean, he's a top player. I mean, I seen the interview with Pep. I mean, Pep obviously absolutely adores him. Yeah. And it's no wonder why. And of course, the fans do as well. I mean, I was speaking to Paul Dickoff on the way down, and even he's like sort of waxing lyrical about Johnny Stones. I think he put something on social media doing the Johnny Stones song. Top player. And I mean, I don't know him, but apparently he's a wonderful person as well. So absolutely delighted for him. But what a header! Yeah. I mean, it's a great header in any time of the game, but to produce that header at that point as well, to get full 3 points. Wow, fantastic. Fantastic. Johnny Stones, we love you. I tell you who else I love, young Rico Lewis. Before we get into him, he was alongside Pep for our pre-match conference. Let's hear what he had to say.
playing so many games already this season is like I've almost appreciate more the players that have done it, you know, the last season and the season before, because it's so difficult. No game's easy, especially for us, you know. I think it's difficult to you know, switch into that so quickly, to be, you know, adjust to playing so many games from not playing that many games on a bounce. But I'm enjoying it, and that's the thing that I think that pushes me through. You know, the tiredness or whatever, is that all I want to do is play football, especially for this club. So I think that's the main thing that pushes me through it.
I love that lad. I absolutely love it. And picking up on what he's just talking about there, he's the only player in a City shirt to have played every minute in the Champions League this season, and he made his 25th Premier League start against Wolves, so that now takes his tally up to 25, and the next closest to that was Kingsley Coman as a teenager at Bayern Munich with 20. So you can, one, obviously see the trust, but also, as we know, Pep doesn't just give you a start on a, you know, on a handout. How impressed have you been with him, and why is Pep choosing him week in and week out?
Well, first of all, he's good enough.
Yep.
I think that's the simple answer to that one. But we're going back to what we were talking about before. I mean, he can play multiple positions. And I'm kind of putting him in a defensive role at the moment, but he could be in that midfield, he could be pushing up forward, and he looks comfortable. And I think the best thing is as well that he's, especially from last season, there was a couple of times where it didn't quite go right in games, and he was pulled out the side, and then he was given another opportunity. So Pep's given him chances to get over certain situations. I'm not talking about horrific incidents, you know, just maybe like loss of ball in a crucial place. But he's come back, he's given the opportunity, he said, this season, full of confidence, full of ability, and we're not surprised that he's in the starting lineup.
No.
I think that's testament to him.
Well, that's it. And also you're talking about, you're keeping out big names. You know, Kyle Walker. I mean, he even played out on the left side. I think when they moved Gvardiol into the middle. Are you surprised at his versatility, Steve, as well? The fact that he is able to pop up on the left-hand side of defence or the right-hand side, and he's got the trust to play centre attacking midfielder or centre midfielder.
Well, in one respect, you're surprised because of such a young lad. You certainly don't want to be in the kind of category of jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
He's very, very good at any position that he plays, and I think that's testament to him, because it would have been quite easy for him, because he did get the limelight pretty early, because he did do very well, for all of a sudden for him just to take, you know, the foot off the gas a little bit. But he's demanded to get better and better by himself. He's obviously got, you know, let's be honest, the best manager in the world. That showed huge faith in him. But he showed faith in him initially, but he's repaid that.
Yeah.
Because he has been so consistent. And for a young lad to be in this team, I think it's testament to him, because you don't get in this team if you're just a good player. You've got to be a very good player to get into this team, and he's done that.
It's also then you're thinking, where's his potential? It feels like the sky, not to sound cliche, but the sky is the limit for him. If he's doing this now, who knows where he could be in 3 years, 5 years, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I think he'll still only be 30 at that point.
Scary. As you said, the sky's the limit, so his potential is endless.
Yeah.
It's basically, it's down to him. I mean, obviously he's got to be fortunate with injuries and stuff like that. But if he stays clear of injury, and he shows the same dedication and commitment, which he has done already, you know, he could be a name that people's talking about, you know, is great players, you know, that's gone on to do absolutely wonderful things, and hopefully with Manchester City.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's cast our mind back to the last time we were in Champions League action. This was, of course, against Bratislava. We can bring you some highlights from that game now.
Well, after being held by Inter Milan, the Blues will certainly feel that they could do with a first win tonight. Udoku will clip in across, looking towards the far post, hit by Savinho, and then hit by Gundogan, and City lead already. İlkay Gundogan's first goal since he returned. Here they come again with Doku, and on it goes to Foden, 2-0. Foden with a bending shot. Lewis is walking, he's at walking pace, slips it through, Haaland one-on-one. Haaland's got his goal, City have got the victory. Stones and Rico Lewis, and on it goes in the area, and a goal! McAtee with his first Manchester City goal. There was a golfing class, and they're up in the top 8 of the Champions League table.
So that was last time out. Now let's turn our attention to tonight. This is how our opponents are shaping up. Sparta Prague look like this. Vindal, Karinen, Olotunji, Bermacevic, Preciado, Laci, Haraslin, Sorensen, Panak, Rines and Vitek. I will apologise as well. I think that could be Vitic at the end. That is why Alistair Mann is usually the man for that, and that's why he gets paid the big bucks. Let's dig into that though, and straight away there was a man that you earmarked before we came into the studio that you'd clock straight away. Tell us about their danger man and who we need to keep an eye out for.
Well, danger man, there's a few there. Haraldsson.
Yep.
I'm sure many fans would have seen him during the Euros, but the lad that I like is Rines. Rines,
yeah, close enough.
Close enough. Plays on the left-hand side, or can play on the left-hand side. Wonderfully skillful, gets crosses in. A lot of their goals that I've seen this season have come from crosses, which will be interesting. But yeah, just 23 years old, if I'm not wrong. And there he is, the manager.
Well, even when you showed me some highlights as well, a bit similar, he reminded him a little bit like what Jack sometimes like to do as well, with bringing it on the left, bringing it onto his right-hand side as well.
That's Haraldsson, yeah. I mean, he'll again, he's capable of being in any position, but he often picks the ball up on the left-hand side of the edge of the area. He'll sort of drive towards the goal, cut onto his right foot, and then try and whip a cross in. I mean, the highlights that we saw ended with a lot of missed shots.
Yes.
A bit more like Cancelo than Gvardiol. But yeah, I mean, the reality is they've qualified for the Champions League. They can score goals. I mean, their Champions League record at the moment, they've played 8, including qualifiers. They've won 6 and drawn 2. You know, they'll, and again, I think because of this format, this is something I was trying to get my head around. Because of this format, they'll be looking at it and saying, if we can nick a point here, then there is a great opportunities for us to stay sort of mid-table, massive table, whatever. Whereas a loss of that point would drop them down a few places.
Yes,
so there's different mindsets, and it's interesting how this new format's working out. As I say, City win, they go level on top. I don't know how Bayer Leverkusen are doing right now.
We'll find out.
But as I say, there's 4 teams that could be 100% at the end of tonight, which is great for City. But that would mean that Sparta would end up dropping positions.
Yes.
So again, do they come in with I'm saying a 5-4-1 or a 5-3-2? They could end up with a Arsenal 5-5. Actually, Arsenal had a player sent off, but
again.
Again,
I think nobody's really expecting them to win. So, for me, I think a lot of these players will be looking at this and thinking, do you know what? This is a great opportunity for me to show how good I am.
Yes.
It's kind of putting themselves in the shop window.
Yeah.
You know, and whilst Pep knows everything about everybody and the sort of the recruitment team at Man City, they know everybody. If you have an absolute brilliant performance, you're in somebody's mind.
Yes.
And even if it's not Pep Guardiola's, it's somebody else is watching.
Yeah.
To get that move. And I know it might sound kind of selfish from a player's point of view, but they want to play at the best clubs.
Yes.
And that's no disrespect to Sparta Prague. But it's a perfect opportunity for them to kind of put themselves in the shop window and basically sort of say to managers and, clubs all around the world,
this is what I'm about.
I can go to the next level type thing.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting, if you look at their season, they've had 11 league games. They've slipped up in 3 games.
Yeah, they're in second, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, they had a spell where they lost 2 and drew 1 before winning 2-1 on the weekend. Before that, they had a 15-game unbeaten run. So it doesn't matter what league you are to qualify for the Champions League. If you're putting 15-game unbeaten runs together, then you've got something about you. So I'm not trying to dismiss them as completely out of the contest, but there is a point where, like, I get what you're saying, Steve. Let me go and show you how good I am. Well, if that means that they're going to suffer a defeat because of it, then the mentality will be more like, let's not lose.
Yes.
Because we still have a chance in the Champions League. They're watching it likes of Real Madrid dropping points in the early rounds. You're thinking, well, hang on a minute. If we can pick points up, then we could somehow end up in their position.
They, I think Leverkusen as well is currently 1-1 that score, so they won't be keeping their 100% record as it stands, but we'll keep you updated throughout. They've actually used the fewest players across all the teams in the Champions League this year, only have used 15 players. So is that just, do you think, because of they trust the team that they've got? What does that kind of tell you, Steve? I think
obviously the manager's been and the players have been lucky with injuries. I think it's nice to have that continuity, that consistency.
Yeah.
Players, if again we talked about the swapping of players at Man City and other clubs here. But this manager and these players, I mean, it's just like when I played, I didn't want a rotation. You want to play. If I'm fit, I want to play. So these lads, they've been given that opportunity. They've been lucky with injuries. And when you play together week in, week out, you kind of know each other inside out. So especially when you're playing somebody like Manchester City, which is going to be so difficult, to have that understanding between you and your mates and your teammates, could be invaluable. I don't think it's going to be quite enough for them tonight. No. But at the same time, fair play to them. Also, I wanted to pick up on looking at their team as well. A lot of their goals this season have actually come from the defensive half of the pitch in Olatunji and Bermasevic. So just something we'll probably have to be wary of as well, whether that's kind of set pieces but they have got goal scorers similar to City coming from the back half of the pitch as well. Yeah, I mean, as you say, I think this is the second in their league. They are one of the better teams in the league, hence the reason they're here in the Champions League. Yeah. So the chances are that they're going to score more goals from defenders, whatever. But the one thing that struck me from watching the footage is the amount of crosses. Okay. Early crosses, and again, if it's counter-attack play and the opportunities to get crosses, it won't be coming from defenders necessarily, not unless they're as good as John Stones and do play in that advanced role. But I think we just have to be careful of the crosses, definitely. Lovely stuff. Right, let's take a pause here in the studio because, as always, you can get full commentary on the Manchester City app, so make sure you've got that downloaded and you're ready to listen to the main man, Mr. Alistair Mann. Joining him as co-commentator tonight is Kit Simons. They are pitchside at the Etihad, so let's go see how the atmosphere is feeling. I don't know if the spectators will be in yet. Let's find out and see what they're making of tonight's game.
Thanks, Kel. Yes, welcome to Pitchside. I'm joined by my co-commentator this evening, former City centre-half Kit Simons. Kit, it is a bit of a journey into the unknown. City have never faced Sparta Prague before. When you face this kind of opposition, what kind of analysis, would it be the same as the Premier League? I mean, will the scouts have been out there, do you think?
Yeah, I'm sure they would have got the full analysis on them, would have watched previous couple of games. A lot of it's done by video analysis now rather than actually in person, but they would have done a thorough research for sure. I mean, what Pep's like, he takes nothing lightly, he's very ultra professional and goes to the finest detail.
They're on the same number of points, so that means we deserve to treat them with a lot of respect. The City lineup reflects that, doesn't it? Is Pep thinking already about maybe the number of points that we're going to need to make sure we're in the top 8?
He'll certainly be aware of that for sure, and I mean, there's so many games coming up. He will be sort of juggling the squad a little bit, but we spoke before, you can make 8-9 changes and it's still a ridiculously strong lineup because maybe not numerically we're not the strongest, but with the quality we've got, you can make so many changes and still be an absolutely fantastic side. But he'll be aware of how many points we need to qualify. He'll be aware of the games coming up. He looks at everything.
Of course, this is really the business end. I mean, I know there's one more international break, but it's a game every 2 or 3 days, Southampton at home and then Spurs in the Carabao Cup. How difficult it is that you're a manager yourself just to keep those sort of refreshments going so that everything is ticking along?
Well, it's something you need to be very conscious of, certainly, and I'm sure without doubt Pep is, and it's keeping players who maybe wouldn't play so much game time, keep them involved and get them game time. And like I say, certain players need a bit of a breather here and there as well. So it's very much a squad game now because there's so many games, so many competitions we're involved in, and we're looking to win them all. Realistically, we go out to win them all. So it's very difficult, and you need a lot of thought that goes into it and a lot of planning.
Sparta Prague started their qualification in July. These are big moments for them. If you're a visiting team coming here, is there a sense of excitement, not being overwhelmed by the occasion?
I think that's what you try and instill into your players, certainly. I mean, I was over the joy today watching the youth play, and they Sparta Prague set up very aggressively. They went man-to-man press all over the pitch, so it asked our boys a few problems. We ran out 3-0 winners in the end, and played very well. But they might come and be ultra, think nothing to lose and just go for it. And like I say, that sort of approach can cause you problems at times.
The philosophy for City's academy teams is to play like the first team. Do you think we've got an insight maybe into what Sparta Prague might do?
I mean, like, you just really don't know, honestly. So, let's say City, there's normally a giveaway. We play, Pep's got plan A. If plan A don't work, do plan A better type thing. And we got such good players that is the way for us to play. Other teams, I'm not so sure, other clubs, but it'd be interesting to see. Like I say, they played a really aggressive way, but didn't get the result. You know, they lost 3-0. Will the first team try and do that? Because you can get a bit of a hiding if you try and do that right from the start. So it'd be interesting to see.
They'd been the dominant team in the Czech League. They won the double, indeed, a few weeks ago. How difficult do you think it is to make that transition where you're top dogs among, your country, and then you come really here expecting to lose?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to do because the tests they'll face within the Czech League will be nothing like the tests they're going to face in the Champions League, and especially playing City away from home. It's a real daunting task for any club in world football, but especially someone coming from a lesser league, if you like, without being disrespectful. It's not as tough as the Premier League or the Liga, so they won't be used to this type of game at all, and hopefully they'll be a bit shocked tonight.
Just one final thought. I mean, I put this to a lot of people who've been in and around the game for a number of years. Do you think there is a difference already in the way teams are approaching this new league phase, or is it very similar at the moment to the group stage as it was?
I don't know. It's still quite difficult to tell, really. Looking at the games, I think people are aware maybe that there's sort of more games for them to definitely play and give them a chance of qualifying, and I'm not too sure. It's still a bit of the unknown at the moment for me, to be perfectly honest. And I think it'll only be the latter games of the sort of group stage where we'll really see things maybe change and teams have to open up and go for it a little bit.
Does your gut feeling tell you we're going to see a City win tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, I was over the joy today and watched a 3-0 win for the young players, and our big centre forward scored a hat-trick as well, so I'm looking for the same tonight.
Well, the thoughts there of Kit Simon's. Kit, of course, is on co-commentary duty with me. Make sure you download the app so that we can guide you from the first minute to the very last. Back to you, Kel.
Thanks so much to Alistair Mann there alongside his co-commentator Kit Simons. This is the opposition manager there applauding the fans that made the journey to the Etihad Stadium. I'm sure they'll be in fine voice, bringing the atmosphere. Look at them all in already. Absolutely class. We've seen some great away support already this season. It's a great thing as well. I love getting to have these different teams at the Etihad is seeing the away support. They're already up for it. Come on, the boys. I'm sure the Etihad will be rocking as well as our City fans trickle through into the stadium. Let's pick up on what Kit just mentioned there. So you'll know on Champions League nights, our youth are also in action. They as well play at the same teams. And as Kit said, tonight they were 3-0 winners at the Joy Stadium. Aboado with a hat-trick. I think we can bring you those goals now. But it does really feel, gents, as well, nice to see that the young lads are emulating the older lads as well, so to speak.
Yeah, and the one thing I would say, I mean, I'm not 100% on the... Let's have a look at the goals first, because I've not seen these. Stuck in traffic. There we go. Fantastic. When you look at the Champions League squads for the senior team, it's cool, isn't it?
It's a beautiful finish.
They'll be looking at... you would like to think they're looking at this bench tonight for the senior team.
Yes.
Going. There's only 7 players there. We're allowed, 10 or 12? I should be on the next one if this situation is similar.
Crops up again.
Yeah.
I mean, and when you're seeing performances like that, as I say, Bodo up there, who's had a fantastic start to the season as well for the EDS. If you get a chance, make sure you keep an eye on him. I mean, there seems to be many to watch, but he's had a cracking start. But even just in the passage of play as well, coming up to that second goal in particular, the threaded ball through, it is amazing to see that they just very much try and emulate what the first team do, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they get to see the lads maybe firsthand. Obviously they certainly do when they watch them on a match day, if they can get to the games, which they will be tonight, so they've played that game and they'll be looking at players that play in their position. But the lad that scored the 3 goals, I mean, every time he's basically facing the goalkeeper up, and he doesn't look as though he's kind of flustered in any way. He's just calm and collected, and that's exactly what you want your centre forward to do.
Yeah.
Just slots them in, as Jamo said, which is absolutely spot on. They'll be looking at the bench and thinking, you know, there's only 7 on there, and 2 of them are goalkeepers. You know, if I keep on doing what I'm doing, and that's pretty much everybody there with a 3-0 win.
Yeah.
You know, they've got a great opportunity because they know the manager is not frightened to do that if they deserve that. And if they deserve it, then, you know, good luck to them. And that could be the start of them kicking on and doing a Rico Lewis.
Well, that's it, doing a Rico Lewis. I even think back as well, if it was, I think it was last season, or was it the start of this one, one of the 2, young Mika Hamilton as well. And then there was the left back, whose name escapes me. No, it was, I think he was only 16, but he'd got the call up as well, I think, just as Ake had got injured. So the pathway is there for them. Oscar Bob, another one. Yeah, Nico O'Reilly's on the bench.
Tour as well, wasn't there? They got games on the tour, which was brilliant experience for them. So they know if they continue to do what they do and consistently, without a doubt, you know, the coaches will be talking to Pep, and Pep will be asking the questions, and it'll be like pushing and pushing and pushing. So they've got every opportunity.
And also, sorry, go on, David.
And I'm wondering whether, again, just I don't know what the current rule is exactly for the Champions League squad. But by Pep only having 7 on the bench, he's kind of making a statement.
Yeah.
That this shouldn't be the way it is. And therefore, these youngsters, as much as you want to see them winning 3-0 in the afternoon, some of them could have been on the bench, but probably hamstrung at the moment. Not allowed because of the Champions League squad situation.
Yeah. It's interesting as well. I think Prague they've got 12 on their bench in comparison to our 7. Caden Braithwaite, thank you. To the gallery there. That's the young 16-year-old who played at left back. Also, this might be an obvious question, gents. We have touched upon this before, but for the youth team, one obviously playing in like the UEFA Youth League, but playing against European opposition is going to be different when you're coming up against your Premier League 2 teams. I'm guessing different ways of playing, different styles.
The kind of the physicality of it as well. Sometimes a lot of teams are a little bit more physical. It is a little bit different because, again, we're kind of not going on about it, but back in the day there wasn't as many foreign players in the in the league, and certainly wasn't when you were playing that level. But for them lads getting that experience, it's great to have the experience at home. I think they learn even more when they're away from home.
Yes.
And you're getting you're going to whichever ground they're playing in, and the atmosphere of the people that's there. You know, it's kind of against you, a lot more against you. And as I said, the weird thing is, it's the different texture of the grass and how the ball moves around in the air, which is different to back home. Little things like that is a great thing for the kids to sort of pick up on and get experience through.
Yeah, them finer details as well, is it? That's only going to help them try and emulate. He was just on the screen there, the poster boy of the academy, Phil Foden.
Yeah, I think when you compare it to the Premier League 2, though, naturally the sides of England, because of the spending power, are going to have, you would think, better academies across the board.
Yep.
But what you will do is you'll come up against, perhaps not with Sparta Prague with all respect, but you'll come up against other European academies with some heavyweight power. I mean,
well, a big one coming up is a trip to Lisbon against Sporting.
Yeah,
you know, and we know all about their academy.
And then all of a sudden it becomes a completely different test because you're not just playing a Premier League 2 side with an understandable formula. You're playing against a foreign side with their own formula, which works in their own country tremendously well, especially in Sporting. So yeah, I just think playing South East counties against Fulham and Ipswich doesn't sound the same as Sporting
Lisbon. No, that's very, very true. Let's actually hear from our young manager there, Ben Wilkinson. Here he is giving us his thoughts full time after that 3-0 win against Sparta Prague earlier on this evening.
Ben, congratulations. A second successive win. You must be pretty happy with the performance today.
Yeah, it was a tough game. You know, I think whenever you play against a team who are man-to-man in their pressing, it makes it uncomfortable for you, especially for us in terms of probably takes away a bit of our control. And you have to adapt to that and be able to live with it. So, yeah, I thought we were a threat going forward. We scored 3, probably could have scored more. A little bit loose with some of our play, maybe a little like we hadn't played for a couple of weeks, but yeah, all in all, pleasing performance.
How rewarding is it for you and your coaching staff to see the preparation be matched with the performance on the pitch and see everything kind of fall into place?
Yeah, the staff work really hard off the pitch to try and come up with plans for each game, but more specifically, stick to our principles day in, day out on what we want to do and what that should look like on the pitch. And I thought the last few games that's really shone through quite strongly, which is a really pleasing thing. Still a lot of room for improvement, especially in this competition. I think we can get a lot better, but yeah, I think we're starting to look something like what we want it to look like.
And matches perhaps don't get much better than this one for Justin and his hat-trick. What are your thoughts on the performance that he showed today?
Really pleased for him. I've known Justin a long time and I know what he's capable of. I think he would probably admit that it's been a difficult 6 to 12 months for him, from some of the highs he's hit in the past, and he's probably had to do a little bit of soul searching in the last month or so. He's not played as many games as he'd want to. So delighted for him to come into the team. I thought his effort without the ball was really pleasing today, his intensity that he played at. And I know that when he gets in front of goal, he's going to score. So really pleased for him, and hopefully he can kick on from here.
The Youth League is obviously a really tough competition. How do you and the team now work on keeping the momentum that we've found and hopefully pick up another 3 points in our next game? Obviously we'll kind of go our separate ways a little bit in terms of we've got PL2 game at the weekend. It's a slightly different team, so it's just trying to reflect on this game, take the learning we can, and then we'll come back together before we play Sporting Lisbon, which I think we know will be a very, very difficult game away from home against a really good side. So I think there's a lot to build on in terms of positives, but I think we can also get a lot better. And finally, you mentioned the Premier League too there. We travel to West Brom this weekend. How much are you and the team looking forward to the challenge of trying to maintain our spot at the top of the table?
Yeah, really looking forward to that. The boys who have sort of figured in that team consistently this season have had chomping at the bit to get going again after that West Ham game. Difficult away game this weekend, and hopefully the challenge for us is picking up where we left off in terms of the level of the last performance, and knowing that away games are always different and can prove to be really difficult. So yeah, trying to replicate that performance is what we'll be looking to do.
Well, thank you again, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
That's it. Massive congratulations to Ben Wilkinson and his team there, 3-0 winners earlier on. And he mentioned there as well, so our EDS are next in action against West Brom at the weekend. That is a 11:30 kickoff. You can watch that game on City Plus. And City Plus is not only the place, obviously, where you can get those exclusive documentaries, but it is where we stream a lot of the games that are happening around the Manchester City Football Club, whether that be our EDS team as well, of course, as well, that big game coming up against Sporting Lisbon when we play over there, but also our women's team who've had a fantastic start to the season in Europe as well. Of course, beating Barcelona at the Joy Stadium and then St Polten away. That's 2 wins out of 2 so far. And them games are also on City Plus. So to keep across all our EDS, under 18 and women fixtures, make sure you do sign up to City Plus and you can get commentary on there as well. Right, gents, let's play a little game. One of my favourites, blind rankings. So we have got 5 goals from the Champions League across the years. We're going to show you one, then you have to rank them 1 to 5 without knowing what's to come next, OK?
Are we doing this together?
Yes. You're a
collective thing.
It's a collective. We are a democracy here in the City Live studio. OK, let's begin with this one.
Third.
Julian Alvarez. So, not too long ago, Doku there, pick that one out. Hello.
Nice.
Hello.
It's the first goal, though, so it's early doors.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
You can't
but
go.
it's a random selection. This is AI.
Can we see them?
Order.
Are we seeing them all at the same time?
No, you see
So
one.
it's just
we
one.
rank it.
Yeah. See, that's difficult.
Yeah.
Definitely number 3.
Yeah, you've got to go middle of the.
Yeah, we go middle of the park.
No, go 2.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't go with your gut.
Everyone goes through 3.
I didn't go with the gut.
What?
You said 3 straight away. I didn't go with
three.
that.
Are you,
I saw it.
involved in this? You've got input.
Actually, no. I feel like I've just jumped in on this, but I shouldn't really.
No, 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. I'm going for 2.
I'm going to disagree, but I'll go with you.
I'm thinking of all the Champions League goals that City have ever
Okay,
scored.
it's going into.
I think there's going to be a couple better than that.
Well, there we go. Here we go.
Subjective.
Next one is from Riyad Mahrez. This is against Seville, 2002. Won back by Julian Alvarez as well.
Yeah.
Touch. Have that. Sit down.
That's 5.
Sit down. Have that.
Go
How about
5.
that? Scoop it on the left, send it the other way.
I mean, if you want to talk about the press, add that to the overall
it's
score.
Relatively. I mean, you know how good he is. So
it's a beautiful first touch.
I'm going to go 5. I'll agree with that one. 5. For him, it's a simple finish.
For the finish, I'll go 5. I mean, if you want to include the press, which is
I think it's
weighted.
5. Going 5.
5.
We're going 5 for Riyad there. Scoops it into the top right.
Goalie goes early. If he stands up, he saves it.
There we go.
5.
Okay, next one comes from Raheem Sterling. This is against Mönchengladbach in 2015. Who's that assisting him? Wilfred Boney. Wilfred Boney.
4.
Wow. That is a blast from the past.
I mean, yeah, it's nice.
4.
4.
For me.
4.
Right, whatever. Oh, it's a great flick on. Great bit of skill.
I think we're talking about the finish as well.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
About everything, yeah.
4. Before we go to the next one as well.
Oh, wow, 4. It's been given as a 4.
Would you like? I know they're pushing us on here in the gallery. Yeah. No, but would you like?
We've got a lecture in 2 weeks' time, and you're putting.
Do you want to start?
Go on then.
The only player to have played for Manchester City and Sparta Prague, Wilfred Boney.
Oh, really?
There you go. How about that? It's quite interesting, isn't it? Don't worry. The stat men are in today, guys.
Stat pack.
Right, next up, number 4.
1.
Gosh, I remember this one. Ilkay Gundogan against Porto, 2020. Have a bit of that.
I still think there's a butte round the corner. There's an absolute snorter round the corner.
Favourite word of the day.
Snorter.
An absolute snorter.
Yeah.
That's old school. That's an old school.
We're going to go 3 then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a.
There we go. Man like Ilkay, gone at number 3 with an absolute snorter. Get that one on the City app. Gundo scores snorter. Here we go. And here, which we're going to put. This is what's going in at number 1. Have they called it right? I think they might have done. Kevin De Bruyne have that. Gentlemen.
The distance out as well.
Come on.
Yeah, I think he's the furthest out.
Come on,
he?
that's I even concur. You having that, David? No.
Goalie's got to save it. Great finish.
Do you know, you're very difficult to please.
Well, it also looks like the old Luton Town kit as well that they're scoring against, and
that's right.
Yeah, that's a bit. There we go. There it is. I think you did well there on the blind ranking.
I was right. Yeah. That was a snorter to win it.
That was an.
and anyone who complains about Gundogan being 3rd, see how many free kicks are scored generally. It's a difficult skill.
It is indeed. No, yeah.
So I think we got that right. Hey,
there we go. Well played.
Teamwork.
Makes the dream work. It does indeed. Right. So from the dream team over here, let's head over to the team of Jolyon and Karen Carney. We were able to catch up with them earlier on this evening. So here they are giving us their thoughts ahead of tonight's game.
Yeah, welcome to Pitchside. Alongside me are Karen Carney and Jolyon Lescott. Guys, you've had a little bit of time to digest the City team. What do you make of it?
It's very strong. Obviously, I thought there'd be a lot of rotation, but he's obviously gone very, very strong. A couple of people getting minutes, which is needed, but looking forward to it.
Nathan Ake, a first start, that's a big positive, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, he was on the bench on the weekend. Probably wasn't the opportunity to get him minutes for the sake of it, but it's a real opportunity now to get him some match minutes and hopefully build up his momentum in regards to the start of the season.
There's just a feeling that the big teams are starting to gain some momentum. Do you feel City have got the edge tonight?
In this game, or you meant as to the other big teams?
Well, either, really.
Look, I always think City peak at the right time. I never question anything that they do, never question really their team selection. I think you've got a manager that is the master of getting them to peak at the business end of the season. So, I mean, this time last year, Foden had only scored 1 goal in the Premier League, and look at the season he turned out to have. So I think he'll get them peaking at the right time. I think this is part of the process to getting to that point.
Some big games last night, including Real Madrid doing what they do. What do you make of the new format? Do you think it's working? Think it's different?
Yeah, it's obviously different. I think it's equally as enjoyable. Time will tell how teams enjoy it. I think the teams that probably don't qualify as easy as they would normally will have something to say. But overall, from a fan's perspective, yeah, it's entertaining. No one's discouraged by the format or the outcome of the games, and you get an opportunity to potentially visit teams and places that you wouldn't.
Have you guys started to think what kind of points total's going to get teams in the top 8? I know we're only in match day 3 at the moment.
I think we'll see the last 2 games. I think we'll start to see goal difference really count and really start to see teams shift. I mean, AC Milan as well last night, you're thinking. But yeah, I think the last 2 games, I think we'll really have a good barometer of maybe a few teams really fighting for that top part of the table.
Karen's right, in goal difference is a thing. Might City see this as an opportunity to improve it?
Oh, definitely. But I don't think Pep and these players are ever looking at games and thinking goal difference is going to qualify them for anything. So I'm sure they'll be looking for points to score lots of goals, obviously, but they'll get the job done before the goal difference is relevant.
Sparta Prague come here with the same record as City. What do we really know about them? I mean, is this a bit of a journey into the unknown for City tonight?
They've got 4 points, so you have to respect them on that. And I think they're quite direct. I think against Stuttgart they dropped back, and I think City will probably expect that. But we saw on the weekend they had 80%, just under 80% possession against Wolves. You've got to break down a low block, and I think that will be no different tonight. They've got a couple of key players, but it's whether City will have more possession, so you don't think you'll get to see the best out of them, which is a good thing for City fans.
Well, you know what it's like when this club get goals late in football matches. I can think of 1 or 2. What do you make of the fact that they were just going for it even in the 98th minute against Wolves?
Yeah, I think it's a sign of their confidence, but also a sign of them not quite being fully at it yet, which is okay, as long as they're winning games and able to win in different ways. I think in previous seasons, yeah, you come unstuck in certain games, but now they're fighting to the end, and they've got a variety of goal scorers, which is important. The emphasis isn't just on Erling to score all the goals, so Guardiola scoring a high number of goals and some quality ones as well. So as long as plenty of people are scoring and they're creating opportunities, Pep will be happy.
Psychologically, what did that do for everyone else, City scoring in the 90-odd minute on Sunday?
I think it crushed them as well. When you're looking like Foden didn't start, Kevin De Bruyne, no Ake, the injuries, no Rodri, and you're seeing them find ways. That's why they are who they are. That's why they've won what they've won, and you have to respect that. But I think not only Wolves, but probably the rest of the league went, I'm not surprised, but that was a bit of a gutter. But that's why they are champions. I think, I've been in winning teams myself, and that's not an arrogant thing what I'm saying, but there's something in that dressing room that you always find a way. And that's why, like I said, they're current champions for a reason, and they've got that mentality.
Just one final thought, Jolien. I mean, we're in that stage of the season, games every 2 or 3 days, rotation and so on. Were you confident that without a key man like Rodri, that they'd still be able to string these performances together?
Yeah, definitely. Rodri's obviously massively important to this team and to this squad, but they've played for long periods of time without other key players as well. Erling Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne, numerous seasons, Sergio to go back previous years. So Pep has created a system and a philosophy that isn't too reliant on any one individual. Yes, there are important players throughout the team in important positions, but the system overrides any individual for me, and that's a great thing to be.
Well, thank you for your time, Karen, Jolien. Thanks very much. I'll leave them to their real day job with TNT. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Ali. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Jolien, as well. And let us bring you this. So this is currently how, of course, the Champions League table looks. Brand new format this season, which means the top 8 qualify automatically now. We've been saying, we've been keeping an eye on Bayer Leverkusen, who are currently playing at the moment, and that's still 1-1, very close to finishing, which does mean if it stays like that, Aston Villa, the only team to have gotten 100% start, it is full-time, I can just confirm. So I can confirm Aston Villa, the only team to have a 100% record after 3 games. Before we look at the other teams, just a quick word on Villa. Amazing start. Obviously, great team back in the Champions League. That massive win against Bayern Munich. Thoroughly deserved, Steve, to be set up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched the game yesterday. I mean, the atmosphere, it is a brilliant ground to play in as well. Yeah. I mean, you'll know better than me, playing there week in, week out for a period of time. But when I went there, And for the opposition, it was always a brilliant ground, and it was rocking yesterday. I think Unai Emery, since he's gone in there, has done an amazing job.
Yeah.
The players as well. You've got to take your hat off to them. I think it's helped them playing in the Europa League last season just to get kind of used to like the European football. And then obviously for this, I think it's been absolutely superb. So to see them top of the league, I mean, 3 games, 3 wins, that's absolutely brilliant. And against top opposition as well, so fair play to them.
Fantastic stuff. We'll look at the other half of the league as well, because, I mean, there's maybe some names that might have you thinking, well, where they will, here they are as well. So you've got some big names down there as well, Barcelona, Bayern Munich there, obviously Milan as well. A lot of them still have got a game to play. What are you thinking? They're earmarking, they've said, and who knows, 15 points will be needed to get into that top 8 position to get that automatic qualifying spot. How are you seeing it possibly playing out, David?
Well, it was interesting listening to Jolie there. I mean, no one knows how to play this properly.
Yeah.
So the logic would be just go out there and win the games and then worry about it at the end. I mean, I've even got the confused myself again with City there on 4 points. I thought they were on 6. Forgive me. The Liverpool win, they go top as well, or level with Aston Villa. The fact that there's only 2, I think there was one other side. Was it Benfica?
Yes.
Sorry, in 8th position.
Yep.
Who could also... So only 3 teams after 3 match days means that this is highly competitive.
Yes.
Which is exactly what UEFA wanted.
Yeah.
I think football fans wanted. Sparta will be sat there. I'm just trying to see where they are. I mean, it looks where they are. They see a point for them that consolidates 12th place level with Atalanta.
Yeah.
Possibly. And again, the idea of being in the
middle.
middle.
Us as well, wouldn't it? If it was a draw, we'd be matching with Sparta Prague.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, it's kind of like, after 3 match days, we're Atalanta and Manchester City and Real Madrid. And was this part of the plan?
Yeah.
Well, it's a great place to be. So everyone's got a different way of looking at it, and I just think it's actually turning into, even after 3 match days, very exciting.
And you see the fixtures. They're big for everyone, but we've still got to come. We've got a trip to Sporting Lisbon, of course. Juventus and PSG. We're also going to be hosting Feyenoord and Club Brugge as well. So it's going to be tight. I mean, even you're looking at 15 points, it could be a bit of an ask if there's a couple of draws or a few draws in there. Getting 3 points seems quite tough.
I mean, the thing is, you kind of, with the old setup or last year's setup, you knew what you had to do. This one, you know what you have to do, but it just feels a bit kind of weird to me anyway. So you can kind of lose, but you're like, oh well, we've still got X, Y, 3, 4, 5 games left. Whereas the pressure was on if you kind of lost the game really in the old kind of format. It is like, looking at it, I do get the format, and as Jamo said, it's exciting. But if you look at what City have got, this is why you're not allowed. You cannot take your eye off the ball when you're playing Sparta Prague, because the teams that City have got to play in the other games. Tough games. Yeah, tough games indeed. Obviously, we'll be bringing you all of them as well here on Matchday Live. Let's just hope 3 points tonight as well will get us back in towards that top half where we want to be. Now let's head over, though, because we wanted to know how much do City fans and Sparta fans know about their respective clubs. Well, Natalie Jones put them to the test during one of our City tours, which you can do here at the Etihad Stadium. It brings you here, there and everywhere, all around the club, including access to the first team dressing room, which is where we held this brilliant head-to-head quiz.
Yes, Kel, I'm here with tours this morning, and there's lots of Halloween fun going on. I've been counting the pumpkins, I've been helping John count those on the way around, and we've even said hi to Manchester. However, the most important thing is we have welcomed lots of Sparta Prague fans here this morning. We've got Lucien here with us. Lucien, what do you think of the tour so far, and is this your first time visiting the Etihad?
Yeah, I really like the stadium. It's pretty modern, to be honest. We have a bit older stadiums.
And what score do you think it's going to be?
Well, my prediction is that we'll, of course, Tomáš Wiesner will score a hat-trick, right? Yeah, so we'll win 3-0.
And I've got John with me, who is a City fan. Are you enjoying the tour so far, John?
Yeah, really good with my little boy, so yeah, very good.
Right, so let's get on with the quiz. So first off to you, John. Number 1. Who was the last Checker side Man City faced in the Champions League?
No.
There's a bit of whispering going on over there. I think your son might know. No?
No.
So it's Victoria Pilsen in 2013. Right, over to you, Lucien. Who was the last English side Sparta Prague faced in the Champions League?
Liverpool?
No, that was the Europa League. We said the same thing before. No, it was Arsenal back in 2007, so a while back as well. Number 2, John. Who is Man City's all-time goal scorer? You know this.
Aguero.
Woo, Aguero, yes, correct. Number 2, who is Sparta Prague's all-time top goal scorer?
David Lapata.
Nope, it's Horst Siegel. I hope I pronounced that right. He's scored 115 goals. Come on, Lucien, you should have known that. Number 3, how many games did City win on our way to winning the Champions League in 2022-23 season? It's all a bit of a blur that season.
10.
Ooh, nearly, no, it's 8. Oh, sorry, John.
Did we draw 2 in league?
Number 3, including qualifiers, how many games have Sparta won in the Champions League this season?
7.
Ooh, nearly. It's 6.
6.
Oh, we're disputing here, we're disputing. Okay, number 4, John. How many times have City won the First Division and Premier League?
8.
Nope, nearly. 10.
10 now?
10, we've won it 10 times.
I'm useless, aren't I?
No.
Go on, Cel City fan.
I think your son knew that then, he was looking over. Okay, number 4, Lucien. How many times has Sparta won the Czech First League?
Yeah, 38 times.
Woo, 38 times, yes. Okay, so it's 1-1. Right, number 5. Name 2 Checker players to play in the Premier League.
There's one playing for West Ham at the moment, I think.
Take a wild guess, John.
No.
No?
Nothing.
What about you? Can you name 2 Checker players to play in the Premier League?
Right now this season it was on the Vladimir Sokol and Tomáš Souček.
Yes, woo! That's correct. Oh, you just nearly got to the tie-break question as well. Oh, so Lucien is our winner. He has won 2-1. Sorry, John, we didn't do it this time.
I deserve that for not getting 10.
Hopefully tonight we'll beat them, but who knows. But thanks, guys, and I have got a prize for you.
Shocking.
I have got a prize for you, Lucien. There you go. That's your prize. Well done, and thank you. Thanks for winning our quiz. Well done, guys. Thanks, Kel. Back to you.
Most welcome. Thank you. Lovely stuff. Thanks for bringing us that there. And that was on the stadium tours as well, which you can book and get involved with here at the Etihad Stadium. It's cracking as well, so do get involved with that. Not long till we're going to be handing over to Alistair Mann and Kit Simons on your commentary team. So before we get some final thoughts, Manchester City are facing Sparta Prague for the first time in all competitions. Now, Pep has faced 80 clubs in his time at City. Can you think of the 2 clubs he hasn't beaten? We did a quiz on the tour, we're doing a quiz in the studio. So he's faced 80 teams as City manager. There's only 2 he hasn't beaten. It's tough. I mean, if
really tough.
Yeah, that is.
I thought you were going to name.
Because it could just be
name
like
the
a
other.
one-off.
Yeah. What
79.
one of them is?
Okay.
Do you want the answers?
I think I've got one, but I'm not going to say it.
He doesn't have one.
Is that actually in the stat pack?
We can't say this is a stat pack. This is.
But what was it in the stat pack?
Oh, I don't think it was actually. No.
If it's not in the stat pack.
I can tell you.
Give us an initial.
A clue.
All right, I'll give you a clue to one, which is only met them once, and it begins with a W. It was in 2018.
Oh, that'll be.
Nope.
All
competitions. It's an English team.
Wolves.
Where?
And all competitions.
Wigan.
Wigan. 1-0 defeat in 2018. The other one was Celtic, in which he drew in both legs of the UEFA Champions League campaign, 16-17, 1-1 at the Etihad and 3-3 at Celtic Park. There we are. A little bit of fun knowledge for you. Right, so before we wrap up and get a score prediction, David, we've seen the team hopefully going to be business as usual. We've seen 3 points is going to be key tonight. What are you going to be hoping for to see from our City team?
I'm hoping that it's just going to be controlled.
Yeah.
The idea or the chance for Erling, obviously, to score some goals would be fantastic. But my concern is only 5 outfield players on the bench.
Yeah.
And as much as you can only use 5 substitutions, it just means that the options aren't really there unless you want Ederson in midfield. So there's a bit where you think that it won't be full throttle, even if it is controlled. But I anticipate a nice controlled performance.
So every
That's
time
nice,
these light shows, they get. Listen,
Fantastic.
kudos to the light men and women at the Etihad Stadium from Cel Spellman. Honestly, fantastic. And if you're lucky enough to see it in the stadium as well, it really is a great way to build up to the game. Steve, we've got 5 changes. Obviously, Phil Foden starting to hopefully pick up a bit of rhythm. We've got Nunes starting as well. So hopefully as well, we were saying at the start of the show, see a nice few individual performances that'll be saying as well, hey, Pep, you've got to be starting me a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, all of the players pretty much. I mean, as I said, the changes that he's made, it's a perfect opportunity for them. It will be a tough game, but it's, they'll be desperate to get out there. Excuse me. It's a fantastic night. It's a Champions League game. It's under the lights. There's hardly any wind. It's just perfect conditions to be professional football and play in this kind of arena. They'll be so looking forward to it. I do think initially it could be quite cagey.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, the teams do make it difficult when they come to the Etihad. So it'll be good to get a nice early goal, and then you can just express yourself from there. So, yeah, a bit cagey, but I'm looking for a good, solid performance. As Jamo said, though, the fact that there's only 7 players or 6 players on the bench makes it that the change is a little bit
restricted almost.
Yeah.
And you can't forget as well, David, as well. They've had to go through qualifying, but they've done so far so well. I mean, they're sitting on the same points as City in the current league as well. So it's not going to be easy.
There has to be, I know it's cliche, but there has to be respect for them. And that's why I think the control bit is the important thing.
Yes.
If there is any chance that Sparta think they're going to try and snatch and grab a 3 points here, then City, as I say, if they're in control, that shouldn't happen. I just want to see Erling start banging a few goals in and getting confidence for the Premier League.
Lovely. Well, that's what we're hoping for as well. OK, well, the bell is tolling there, so I'm going to take that as well. It's not probably tolling me to say we're going to have to hand over to commentary in just a second. So, gents, let's get your predictions, please. Steve, can I begin with you, please?
3-0.
3-0, lovely. Another clean sheet as well. David?
I was going to say 3-0. But because I've given you a man to watch in their team, I'll say 3-1.
3-1, lovely stuff. That'll be the first goal we concede in this Champions League campaign, if it is. And also, gents, before I forget, for our possession game that we're playing throughout the season, we have to try and get closest to the possession.
I don't have to actually say it.
Well. Now, sit back in the chair there, Steve. Is that something to do with because you're currently top of the table?
Yes.
Is he taking my spot?
He's top of the table.
Record.
So we want to try and get as close to possession as possible. So quickly.
I was told by a source from this member of team not to take part anymore, and then I win.
Well, we need a guess. We need a guess.
I'm going to go...
don't do it. Don't do it. You don't have to.
Let's just play. I'm one of them. Let's all get involved.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 67%.
David?
Sorry. 73%.
What did you say? 67? I'll go 64. 64 possession for me. OK, right. Let's see how we get on come full time. Alistair Mann has got your commentary alongside Kit Simons. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back at half-time and at full-time. Till then, though, come on, City.
Thank you, Kel. Absolutely stunning start to the evening, the light show that we have become pretty good at putting on these days. Many congratulations to all those involved. That was a stirring way to get the evening underway. So the new league phase format of the UEFA Champions League sees the Blues back at the Etihad Stadium to face the Czech champions Sparta Prague for the very first time in their history. Having drawn at home to Inter Milan and winning handsomely at Slovan Bratislava, City will doubtless see this as an opportunity to advance up the early table, which currently has Aston Villa at its summit as the only team to have so far won all 3 matches. With trips to Sporting Lisbon, Juventus and Paris Saint-Germain on City's schedule,